How's that dark cloud above your head? Do you fancy a bit of sunshine? Let me show you how you can have the power and the passion in today's episode of Genuinely You. Every single person is powerful, perfect as they are. And I believe we all have a role to play in making this world a better place. My purpose is to help people step into their power. Hi, I'm Gina Gardiner. No matter how good your life may be, everyone will experience times when life feels challenging, when everything feels like an effort and seems to be going wrong. Stress and anxiety are the most common reasons for sick leave in the Western world, costing billions of pounds and dollars in lost production. The cost to the individual and their loved ones is counted in poor health, both physical and mental, unhappiness, and a lack of confidence and self-worth. Having some understanding of stress and its impact and the strategies to deal with it may not completely eradicate those deep, dark days, but they can certainly help enormously. So what is stress? It's the body's automatic response to danger. We release adrenaline, hydrocortisone and cortisol. We're not really any different to the antelope in this picture being chased by a predator. Our unconscious mind has one core purpose, and that's to keep us safe. The thing is, survival in modern day living is very different to that when we were a caveman. There is no difference in the physiological response to real or perceived threats. Hormones are released and they stay within the system, and when they do that, they become corrosive. Stress is now caused by many things, which whilst they don't offer a direct threat to our survival, they can actually create life-threatening problems if they're not dealt with. Here are a few of the most common stresses of modern day living. Fear of the unknown, feeling we have no control, when our core values are being compromised, when important relationships are breaking down or broken down, poor health, disability, money worries, poor living conditions, being in overwhelm. And today a further stress is the outpouring of negative news 24/7. It generates fear and a sense of social helplessness. It's fast-moving and unrelenting, and it gives us little time to process what's happening before the next wave, and it can feel overwhelming. People often have a deeply held feeling, I can't do anything as an individual to stop war, terrorism, abuse or famine. It destroys our sense of control if we let it. So what's the result of stress? An increase in heart rate and blood pressure, and the purpose of this is to send oxygen and blood glucose directly to the cells in the major muscles to facilitate flight or fright. Increased perspiring is designed to cool the muscles to keep them working efficiently. Blood is transported away from the skin. This is to reduce blood loss if we were to sustain an injury. Hormones ensure the brain maintains a focus on the threat and we become single-minded. It also happens in any situation which we find frustrating or difficult. When the threat is small, we may be entirely unaware of the impact on us. But when the body reacts to ongoing stressful situations, it can result in a combination of all sorts of things: feeling impatient, anxious, jumpy, irritable, overexcited, a raised heart rate, pounding heart, and in severe cases palpitations, high blood pressure, dry mouth, sweaty palms, feeling sick, indigestion, finding it hard to think clearly, and so many more. And one of the most probably common is the difficulty in sleeping. You're much more likely to make a mistake. Poor self-esteem and anxiety. The list goes on. We all need some level of stress in our lives. Life is all about balance. But what sort of stress and how we react to it is what makes the difference. Best antidote to the impact of stress, the first one is exercise, because it mimics the chase and burns off the stress hormones, and the body generates endorphins, dopamine and serotonin, all of the feel-good hormones. And laughter also generates the same hormones. The old saying that laughter is the best medicine is based on reality. If you want a different result, You have to do things differently. Remember Einstein's definition of madness? To keep doing the same things in the same way and expect a different result. And yet we all do just that. By now, you'll be familiar with the principle everything we do is a choice. You may not be able to change the challenges that you're facing in life, but you can change the way in which you react to it. Remember, you're the one person responsible for your well-being. So many people hand that responsibility over to others. He made me angry, she made me unhappy. Then they have to put up with the other person decides. You hand them your power. Owning and learning to manage your own emotions is critical if you want to achieve a happy, successful and fulfilling life. Quick fix, change your physiology, interrupt the pattern. Remember that 95% of our thinking is habitual, and if you historically focused more on the negative things in your life, now you're aware of the pattern, it's your choice to let that pattern continue or to do things differently. Be aware of the language you use. Remember the program, The Power of Language? Your brain wants to please, so be aware of using language which empowers you. We make meaning of every situation based on our perception and our beliefs, and these are very often skewed and can be incredibly unhelpful and sap any sense of happiness and well-being, leaving you fatigued and unresourced. Take a step back. Identify what is actual fact from the story you've made up in your head, which has become your truth. Look at the evidence and compare your explanation with other potential explanations, and be open to the possibility there's a more positive one. Be clear about the level of real threat. Do the mountain molehill test. Is this a mountain or is this a molehill? Will it be a mountain tomorrow still? What about next week or at the end of the year? If you're going to downgrade your mountain to a molehill in time, why not do it now? It's absolutely your choice to be a victim to circumstances or not. You are the author of your life story. Why not create yourself a great part where you're the heroine or the hero? We've been talking about digging yourself out of that deep, dark hole, how to deal with stress and anxiety. And the case study I'd like to share with you today exemplifies how important that is and how you can actually make a difference. A CEO of a large charity who had enormous pressures. She was not sleeping, she was anxious, and she was depressed. When she came to me, one of the things that we had to do is to unpick what was really going on. What was she worried about? And the biggest thing for her is that she would be found wanting, that she wouldn't actually live up to the job. She believed passionately in what she was doing. The charity was really important to her, and the pressures were huge. The problem was that she would go to bed at night and she couldn't actually think of anything else. Things were going round and round and round in her head. Of course, we implemented a whole range of strategies, but I want to share 3 different ones with you. The first was that she'd been so busy that she didn't do any physical activity. And you'll know from the early part of the show that when you exercise, you release endorphins, dopamine and serotonin, and they're all the feel-good factors. I asked her to make sure that there was some exercise in every day. And so she started to get off the train a stop early. It was easy, she was working in London, so she just got off the tube 1 stop before normal. Exercise releases the endorphins, dopamine and serotonin. They're all the feel-good factors. They're the antidote to all the stress factors, so a really easy way of managing the stress. The second thing we implemented was to make sure that she looked for things that made her laugh, whether that was a TV show, a film, or talking with her friends. And the third thing we did, which in a way captured both those and more, is that she had a habit of waking up at about 1:15 in the morning and not being able to get to sleep and tossing and turning for a great deal of time. And so we implemented this regime. She had to get up, go downstairs, put the kettle on, and while the kettle was boiling, she had to dance around the room just as much as she could, or do Ministry of Silly Walks from the Monty Python show. Anything where she was moving her body, and if it made her laugh, so much the better. Then, to make a drink, nothing with caffeine in it, and to sit down with a notepad and actually do a brain dump, all of those things that she was worried about, to capture those on paper. And then to tell her unconscious mind, I'll deal with those in the morning. There's nothing more I can do. To leave the pad and paper, to go back upstairs, and to go back to sleep. She found it really effective. And because she was getting more sleep, she was actually feeling more in control and better. But interestingly, some of her best ideas came from those times when she was capturing her thoughts in the middle of the night. So, if you find yourself feeling depressed, anxious, there are lots of things you can do. Remember, exercise, laughter, brain dumps, they can really help. It's time for the mailbag and some common questions about dealing with stress and anxiety. Number 1, I don't know where to start. Everything feels difficult. What do you suggest? Well, life can be just like a bowl of spaghetti covered in sauce. It can be difficult to identify a single strand of the pasta. It can be really helpful to do a brain dump on paper. Set aside some time and write down everything that you're worried about. It can be helpful to get things out of your head where it tends to take on an ever greater significance. Once you've got your list, then identify which worries are based on actual fact and which are simply your perception. Ask yourself which of these situations are mountains at the moment and apply the mountain molehill strategy. Downgrade anything which is going to be a molehill in the future, but do it now. Consider the things which you can have a direct impact on. Remember the saying, change the things you can, and if you can't change the situation, you can change the way you react to it. It's a really good idea to get some professional help if you're finding it difficult to navigate things on your own. So, number 2, I go through cycles when things feel fine and then things get on top of me. How can I avoid the down times? Well, there are a number of influences which determine how well we feel we're coping. Our body rhythms, hormonal cycles, sleep deprivation, blood sugar levels are just simply a few of the physical influences on whether we can feel we can conquer the world or find it hard to crawl out of bed in the morning. Recognizing the physical triggers to your ability to cope is really important. Plan strategically to give yourself the best chance. So if your blood sugar levels have an impact, make sure you've got healthy snacks and keep hydrated during the day. So far as you can, work with your hormonal cycle. Some women find they're incredibly creative and productive at certain times in their cycle, and far less so at other times. Some people find their energy levels are affected by the weather, air pressure, humidity, the cycle of the moon. But learn what affects you, and that's just the first stage. Then learning how to manage these fluctuations is the second. Self-care, absolutely vital. Good nutrition, enough good quality sleep, relaxation, and doing things which fill you up emotionally and spiritually. Incorporate quiet times for meditation and reflection into your day. Even 5 minutes a couple of times a day have been found to make a profound difference. There are lots more simple strategies to help, which you can access through the Thriving Not Surviving program and Personal Empowerment Plan, which offers a structured sequential approach which can help enormously. Both can be accessed through the website. Number 3, what do you think makes the biggest difference to feeling good or being stressed out of your head? I think confidence and a great sense of self-worth are the best antidote to stress and anxiety. Of course, it doesn't stop there being challenges, difficult issues and tragedy in your life, but it does make dealing with what life throws at you much easier to manage. In the next episode, I'll be sharing another really powerful strategy to help you build even greater confidence and self-worth, both personally and professionally. So here are the 3 thoughts I'd like to leave you with today. Number 1, when you focus on the problem, you feel heavy and unresourced. Focus on the solution and you'll feel far more empowered. Number 2, worrying is like sitting on a rocking chair. It takes time and uses energy, but it goes nowhere. Number 3, no matter how difficult your day has been, the sun will rise again tomorrow. A new day offers you the chance to do things differently and to feel more optimistic. As always, it's been a real privilege to be with you today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next programme, where we will focus on the theme of stepping into your power and living a life of purpose. Learn how to make the illusion of being Wonder Woman your reality. Until then, be genuinely you. Want to learn more? Grab a copy of my #1 best-selling book, Thriving Not Surviving: The 5 Secret Pathways to Happiness, Success and Fulfilment, on Amazon or wherever good books are sold.